Hey everybody, what's good? What's going on? JB here, back with another CyberInsight live stream. Today we're going to be doing another one of TryHackMe's Windows rooms. So this one's going to be a little bit different. In most of the other previous rooms that we've gone through, there's kind of been a little bit of a lesson and kind of learning some background information before we dive into it. This one, we pretty much just hop into the room and kind of go through the questions. So we're going to be building a little bit on some of the previous stuff that we've covered before, dealing with PowerShell and Windows event logs and things like that. So if you haven't messed around with any of that, then this should be pretty good. If you do have a little bit of background in that, even if it's not necessarily doing forensics or cybersecurity things, maybe it's just a background in IT operations and administration of Windows boxes, then you should have some of the experience and tools already there to help you out move through this room. So pretty excited to do this, and yeah, we'll hop in the other browser and see how it goes. So as I always say when we jump into all this stuff, I appreciate everybody dropping in. Throw your questions in the chat, and we'll hit those up as we move through. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel and all that other good stuff. So in this particular room, we have a machine that we need to hit and start up. You just hit the green button there, and I just did that, so that should be good to go. We're just going to click the show split view to bring that up. And this is really it. Like I said, very, very straightforward. No lesson here. This challenge, that is exactly what it says on the tin. There are a few challenges around investigating a Windows machine that has been previously compromised. So yeah, that's about it. You see we've got a bunch of questions we're going to kind of dig in through here, but yeah, let's just kind of jump through here, and we'll try and figure out what stuff we can do using kind of the GUI tools and some other stuff that we might be able to do with PowerShell commands and stuff like that. We'll just kind of see how it all unfolds. So let's get this split view up here, and we want to go full screen on that so that way everybody can see it. And it's logging in as administrator. And we'll kind of see what happens here. So pretty much a blank Windows desktop. And we already have a pop-up, which is interesting. And I'm just going to hit no on that. We'll see what this does, if it does anything. Okay, so it's connecting to some IP 10.34.2.3. Okay. Don't know what that is, but let's go take a look and see what the questions are. Notice that you really can't see the bottom of the screen here, so I'm going to remove this overlay. There we go. And now you can kind of see the bottom of the screen a little bit better. If I can move it up a little bit. I think you'll be able to see close enough, and I'm going to tell you what I'm doing down there anyway. So, all right, so let's exit the split screen and look at what we got. So, what's the version and year of the Windows machine? So there's a few different ways that we could go about doing that. But probably one of the easiest, we're just going to go and go to Server Manager. And this is kind of a good jumping off point for accessing a whole bunch of different Windows tools. We can kind of see the users and the services and a whole bunch of different stuff. So we're going to go under Tools. Should be able to go to Computer Management. I'll give that a second for that to pop up. Let's see if this is where I'm looking for. Let's also see system information might be another one. Yeah, this is the information that we want right here. So we have a Microsoft Windows Server 2016. Okay, and then we're going to do which user logged in last. Now, let's see if there is... So we did, just for kicks and giggles, since we actually went through the GUI on that, I think that we could also show, since we're here, kind of what we would run in PowerShell as well. I think we should be able to just go system info. Yeah, and we're pretty much going to get the same information as what we got from just clicking on this app. Okay, now let's see. The next question was, who was the last person to log in, I think? So I think we could go net users, and that's going to give us a list of all of the users that we have here. So administrator, a default account, a guest account, Jenny, and John. Now we should be able to do something like net users. And some of these we might have to Google if we don't know what they are. I think we could go get net users. What is that going to be? Or get, let's go get local user. And then we're going to do a pipe there. And name, comma, last log on. I think that should, let's see, what did I mess up there? I always have some issues with my commands. Get let me see. We can always go in Google too. Show last user log on. Windows 10. Log on screen. Let's see if there was something else that we could do. Last user. Just looking through. Get local user. I thought that I had that right. Let's try that again. Maybe I had an extra space. Get local. I'm missing something. Well, another way that we could go and do that is we can go to Windows event logs as well. I just know that I'm messing up that command somewhere, but that's okay. So we can go to, let's see, event viewer. And we can go to Windows logs. Now, if you remember from the last video that we did, we were looking through here and we were doing sysmon. You actually see, looking in here, that they don't have sysmon configured on the box. So that actually kind of stinks, because there might have been some stuff that might have helped us out with. But we can go and look at login events. So 4625, we can filter off of that. 4625. And remember, it's going to be the newest events are at the top. And we can kind of see, looking through here, that all of the last logins really was with the administrator account. So let's go with that. Okay. Now let's see what else we got here. All right, next question. When did John log on to the system last? So with that, we can go ahead and do a net user John, I think. Yes. That's going to give us a whole bunch of different information about this user account. We can see the last time that the password was set, but we also should see the last login. So that's 3/2/2019. It's 3/02/2019. And then the time is 5:48:32. That's 5:48:32 p.m. There we go. And so that that net user command is to be able to show the specific information about different users. What IP does the system connect to when it first starts up? So we actually saw that when that popped up before, that little pop-up at the beginning. And if I remember, I think I grabbed what that was. It was like a 10.34 2.3. But let's say we didn't see that. What are some ways that we would maybe be able to figure that out? So since that's something that's starting up like right when you log in or right when the computer's spinning up, might be something we'd be able to see in the registry. So let's open up regedit. Okay. Now, places that have stuff for startup, I believe. We could Google this if we weren't sure, but we're just going to kind of fumble through this. But if you didn't know, so here's another pop-up with this MIM-EXE. If you didn't know, we could just Google it, but I think we can kind of work our way through this because I think I know where it is, possibly. So HKLM, software, Microsoft. I think we'll go to Windows. Let's see if we can make this a little bit. Windows, current version. And I think it's run. We'll see. Yep. And so we see that there is this key in here, this registry entry for, there's this p.exe that is connecting to this IP address, which is what we saw before, this 10.34 2.3, and issuing what looks like a net user command. Interesting. So that's probably not good. So that was 10.34 2.3. 34 2.3. What two accounts had administrative privileges other than the administrator user? So I think with that, let's see, a few different ways that we could look at this. But we could go under computer management tool that we were looking at before. Let's get rid of the registry. And then under computer management, there should be local users and groups. There should be groups, and we can see the administrators group. Click into that, and we can see that Guest and Jenny are in the administrators group. That is wild that that the guest account is in there. That is no good, but yeah, that is what that is. So let's go Jenny and Guest. Okay. What is the name of the scheduled task that is malicious? So let's go take a look at scheduled tasks. Again, this is going to be under the server manager, and we're going to go to tools. And then task scheduler is where we're going to see all of the different stuff that is scheduled. Let's open this up. And then look at task scheduler library. And we got a few things in here. So we got Amazon EC2 launch that's disabled. Then we got a check logged in. Let's see what this is supposed to be going daily. Using Explorer. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little. Then we got this. This is clean file system, but this looks a little sketchy. So this is to a temp directory running nc.ps1-L1348. So just off the top of my head from looking at this and from doing other TryHackMe rooms, this NC makes me think that this is a netcat listener. And then that -L would be like local and then the port number to listen on. So I would say that that is not a normal thing, and that is probably malicious. Flash update. This seems a little weird. So this was started on 3/2/2019 and runs every 2 minutes. That doesn't seem too good. And it's running a PowerShell command. Yeah. And then game over. This is something else in the temp directory. This doesn't look good. This is, okay, so this is that MIM-EXE pop-up, and it looks like it is doing something to get login passwords and then sending it to some type of text, some type of output file. So maybe that's like Mimikatz or something like that. I don't know. But let's see what the question said. What is the name of the scheduled task that is malicious? And this is 3 words. So the only one that's 3 words is this clean file system. So let's go with that. Okay. And then what file was the task trying to run daily? And we saw that under the actions there. That's that netcat. So it's pretty much spinning up a netcat listener every day on this port. So it's nc.ps1. So that should be like a PowerShell script, I believe. So nc.ps1. And what port did this file listen locally for? That was right there as well. So that 1348. Let's see, 1348. Okay, when did Jenny last log in? Well, we should be able to do the same thing that we did before with John with this net user command. Should be able to do Jenny. And from looking at this, let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. It looks like last login, never. So she never logged in. Okay. So what date did the compromise take place? Well, when we were looking at that task scheduler, I think it had like the date of when that was implemented. So I would say these right here, this 3/2/2019 probably might be a good guess. 03/02/2019. Okay. At what time did Windows first assign special privileges to a new logon? So I don't know what that event ID is off the top of my head, but what we can do is maybe get rid of that number of events. I'm running that filter and I want to get rid of that. So let's get rid of that. Okay, and then we find, let's see, I'm just going to search on special. So special logon. Okay. So let's search on 4672 on the event types. And we're probably going to want to look around the time of that March 2nd, 2019. So let's go 4672. Okay. And that's 313 events. Let's see if we can get something closer to. Okay, so now we're on 3.2. And what was the... See if they give us a hint. Something that has a 49 in it, PM. Okay. That right there does. Now all of these, like, it all pretty much looks like the same thing, so I don't really know. I don't think we could really tell too much from this, but I think they're just wanting us to kind of dig through stuff to be able to show that we can find certain things. So let's go with that. Let's go 0302 2019, and then it was 40449. 0404, I think it was 49 p.m. Cool. Okay, what tool was used to get Windows passwords? Well, I think we kind of actually already saw that with the scheduler when it looked like it was trying to get passwords and outputting to that text file. But let's actually go and dig into that temp directory. Oh, we actually just saw something pop up there, so that's a little interesting. So this temp directory, and we have a whole bunch of bad stuff in here. There's our netcat PowerShell script that we were looking at. Scheduled tasks backdoor, WMI backdoor, a whole bunch of stuff. Looks like it got dumped in here. So it was that MIM exe, and this looks like this is the output from that, maybe. Let's see if we pop this open. So yeah, so this looks like it's Mimikatz, and trying to get the logon passwords and saving it to a file. Okay, so let's go with Mimikatz there. Cool. And what was the attacker's command and control, or control and command server's IP address? So I didn't really see anything sticking out in any of the stuff that we've kind of looked through here already. Now, if we had some DNS logs, that would be something that would be helpful, or connection logs. And that's where we kind of end up going back to Sysmon and how that would be helpful to us. But as we were looking through the Windows events stuff, we saw that they didn't have Sysmon enabled. If we had some other things that were capturing traffic on the network, right, maybe some NetFlow or something like that, then that would be something that we'd be able to look at. Any other type of, IDP or firewall that was actually logging traffic, that would capture that as well, but I don't know that they're necessarily doing that here with what they have. I don't think that was... We can go take a look real quick at and see if there was anything for like Windows firewall logs. Yeah, I'm not seeing... I don't even know if this is really the right place to Firewall Advanced Security. Yeah, this looks like actual creation of stuff, but the actual, I don't see any rules as far as like traffic going through there. So as far as like other DNS stuff of where that might be, yeah, I don't think this is not going to be, yeah, nothing like that. And the sysmon stuff would definitely have it. So we could look at maybe like the Etsy host file and see if maybe there was some other things that were modified in there that might kind of alter traffic or something like that. It might point to something specific. So that Etsy host file is kind of like a local configuration for different types of DNS stuff. Normally, this box would just be pointed to whatever the DNS server, and that would do the resolution for everything. But sometimes you need to put in some type of specific DNS rules that override things. You normally see that if you're doing some type of tunneling from an administrative standpoint, but it could also be something that's done maliciously. So let's go see if we can dig through and find where that is. So I think I always forget where this is. So it's C, and I think it's Windows, and then I think it's System 32. I think it's drivers. Is it Etsy? Yeah, and then Etsy, and then the host file. Okay, so got lucky on that one. All right, so let's open that with Notepad and take a look at what we got. So this is interesting because we actually do have a whole bunch of different. Let's get rid of Mimikatz. We have a whole bunch of entries here. And if you notice, it's a whole bunch of entries that would be used for like antivirus stuff or looking things up. And it's actually pointing it back to the local host. So it's almost like if whoever was on here was trying to do anything to look stuff up or to point for antivirus updates, it's pointing back to itself and wouldn't be able to get that. So that's kind of interesting. But the only thing that's actually going to a public IP address is it looks like they're redirecting lookups for Google to this IP address. So see what the format of this answer is. So it's a 2-digit, 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 3-digit. And that is exactly what that is. So yeah, I say we plug that in and give that a try. So 7632. 7632 and 97132. Okay. Cool. What was the extension name of the shell uploaded via the server's website? Let's see. So this is a Windows box. So if it was running type of server, it would be IIS. So normally if you're running IIS, you're going to see that actually here underneath tools. If we go manage, we can look at roles and features and see what's running on here. Yeah, see, like IIS isn't even turned on. So, but we could look to see if there was ever anything that would have been indicative of IIS being here, like this folder here, inetpub, which is where like you would end up putting like the IIS different folders and data that goes with that. So it looks like maybe at one point it was running here. So www root, and we can get into here, and then we have these 3 files. All right, so if this was something that I didn't know, I wouldn't necessarily be clicking on stuff, but hey, we're here. It's not my box, so let's see what these things are. The BJSP. So I'm not sure what that is. A bunch of code there. Let's see what these tests are. Some type of get, requesting parameters, output. Yeah, it might be doing something. So let's just say .jsp files, I think is what they were looking for. .jsp. Do that. And then what was the last port the attacker opened? Ooh, okay. I think, where would we get that from? Last port that the attacker opened. Oh, okay. Opened maybe on the firewall. Let's go see the Windows firewall, see if there's anything interesting there. Windows firewall with advanced security. Whoa, okay. So opening something up would be inbound rules coming in, and I think the way this works is the latest rules that were added go to the top. So that potentially looks interesting, that top one. Outside connections for development, and any IP address to any IP address using 1337. So yeah, that sounds about right. So let's go with that. And then check for DNS poisoning. What site was targeted? Well, we kind of already saw that looking at that host file. So when we were looking at that, remember that was using Google. I'll just go open it up again for kicks and giggles, but yeah, it should have been Google. No, this is, yeah, Windows System 32. And then what was it? Drivers, I think. Drivers, Etsy, hosts. Empty Notepad again, and yeah, redirecting for google.com. So let's throw that in there. Bam, there we go. So that was it. Not too bad. Pretty cool little room, kind of using some of the discovery techniques that we've done and used before. So that was pretty good. Any questions or anything before we wrap this one up? I'm gonna mess around with this, figure out why I couldn't get the get local user to work. I know I'm doing something wrong there, but yeah, if nobody has any questions, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Appreciate everybody dropping in. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and all that other good stuff. And yeah, we'll talk soon.